Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Bob Power, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you've joined us for our next live presentation from OceanaGold Corporation. Please note you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Jared Bond, President and CEO of OceanaGold Corporation, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol OCANF and on the TSX under the symbol OGC. Welcome, Jared.
Thank you, Bob, and welcome everyone to today's presentation. It's a great opportunity for me to share with you an overview of OceanaGold. Before I begin, I'll just draw your attention to our customary cautionary statements as relates to forward-looking information, reserves and resources and the like. But yeah, let's get into it. An overview of OceanaGold. As this slide shows, we're an intermediate global gold producer, and the distinctive thing we communicate to the investment community is that we have a very strong near-term growth profile. And this presentation I'll do today, I'll touch on where that growth is coming from and just how imminent it is. As you can see, this slide shows where our assets are located, and I'll just walk through each of them as a bit of an overview. Didipio is a mine in the Philippines. It produces gold and copper. It produces around 25% of our production, and because of the combination good grades of both gold and copper, it's a very low-cost producer, therefore very highly cash generative, generates a lot of our free cash flow. Fabulous asset. We built it and have owned it since inception. And we own it 100%. Hale gold mine in South Carolina, I should say, produces gold and silver. It's our largest producer, produces around 36% of our gold production annually. And it is one of our primary sources of growth over the next few years. Waihi is in the North Island of New Zealand, gold and silver producer. It's our smallest producer, being around 10% of our annual gold production, but it's also adjacent to one of our more exciting longer-term growth projects with a fabulous deposit that I'll cover today in the presentation, the exploration potential we see there. And then finally, Macraes in the South Island of New Zealand. It's also a large producer, around 30% of our gold production. It's the foundation asset of the company. It's been going for over 30 years. Large, low grade, but a fabulous asset in our portfolio. So a very simple company to understand. 4 producing assets. Our headquarters is in Vancouver, where I'm speaking to you from today. And our guidance for the year 2023, which we're now past, of course, and we report on the 22nd of February our 2023 results. But the guidance that we had for the period was 460 to 480,000 ounces of gold, 12 to 14,000 tons of copper, and you can see the all-in sustaining cost range that we produce that gold in. On the left-hand side, you can see the 5 focus areas that drive our daily activity: operating safely and responsibly, delivering on guidance. We're always looking to optimize our operations and maximizing free cash flow. And we have some fabulous growth opportunities, all organic in nature, which basically means they're generally lower risk than greenfield projects and the like. We have some great growth opportunities that I'll talk on today, and all of this is in service of increasing returns to shareholders. So if I move to the next slide, you'll see what our vision and values are. Our vision is to be a company that people trust, want to work for and partner with, supply and invest in, to create value. And that's what aligns us all internally, along with our values: care, respect, integrity, performance, and teamwork. These values have been in place for a bit on 18 months now, and have been incredibly unifying and aligning across the organisation, particularly care. All of our sites, operating businesses, I should say, the mines, are largely residential sites. That is, our people live near the mine. They're part of the community. And that caring for the health and well-being of our people, the environment, and local communities means a lot to our people. So these values are very real. Our strategy is summarised on this slide. It's quite simply to increase and sustain a higher value for OceanaGold shares. That's what we're working to. And we have 5 pillars that underpin our ability to do that. Firstly, operating safely and responsibly to deliver the most amount of gold at the least cost. Secondly, a caring, inclusive and winning culture. It's always about people that makes the getting and processing of the gold achievable. The third pillar is to increase resources and reserves cost effectively. And we look to do that through the entirety of the value chain, exploration, project execution, entering into projects early, and then acquisitions as and when and if needed. Financial strength and returns is our fourth pillar. We believe that being a gold company, to have a strong balance sheet, flexible balance sheet through the cycle is very important. We believe we have that now, and it's projecting to get stronger. And then finally, have a premium rating with the investment community. That is, to have a board and management team that investors can trust. So they're the 5 things that we look to execute well against. You can see there in the presentation the tactics that we use to fulfill that strategy, and then each measure under which we are looking to measure the effectiveness of our execution of that strategy. But again, all in service of increasing and sustaining a higher value for OceanaGold shares. So what I might do is get into some of the assets, because that's where the money is made. And Haile is, as I said at the beginning, in South Carolina, is our largest gold producing asset. We've had it in the portfolio since about 2015, 17-ish. The big transformation that's going on there at Haile, which has historically been a series of open pit mines, is that we went underground. That was a bit over 12 months ago. And during the year, we achieved commercial production. So you can see there on the right-hand side, you've got a sectional diagram of the open pit. That's the Snake open pit. And with those blue lines, you can see down there, that's the decline, and then the ventilation works into an underground mine. And we produced around 90,000 tons of ore from underground in the fourth quarter of last year. And this ore that comes from underground is up to 3.5-4 times higher than the grade that we get from the open pits. And being pure ore and with much less waste movement, we see that as being one of the transformations of the cost base of Haile. That is, we have a mill of about 3.8 million tons per annum. But we're, over time, as this underground mine ramps up to its full run rate, we're looking to increase the average grade of the feed to the mill, reduce the amount of rehandle from and waste movement from the open pits, and the combination of higher grade and less waste movement results in improved economics of the gold produced from the Haile gold mine. And I look forward to later in February, when we release our guidance for 2024, sharing with the investment community how this generation of ore from underground is manifesting and producing higher gold production from Haile as a result. So we're really excited about the success of the development of this mine, and as the in periods to come, you'll see this mine grow further. Underground will develop more stopes and ultimately get the amount of ore fed from the mine to around 750,000-800,000 tons per annum. And that's will again feed a mill of 3.8 million tons per annum. What's also exciting for us at Haile is the exploration upside. And so this is a sectional diagram of this Horseshoe underground mine. If I look at Horseshoe on the right-hand side, you can see the yellow there. That's the same ventilation works and decline that goes to the top of the ore body. The reserve is shown there in red. You can see there that the reserve grades are a little under 4 grams per tonne. That compares with open pit material of around 1.2 grams per tonne. And what we're and in the grey, those zigzags there, that's the mine development in the future. So you can see how we'll take the mine over the course of its life. What excites us is that blue material around it, the inferred, and the ability with exploration success to grow that inferred resource size and then convert it into reserve and move it into the mine plan. And this diagram, which was, it's been around for a while, and we look to update with our full year results in February. You can see there some of the drill results that we have got from the drilling platforms that we now have from underground, which we've had in since May of last year. And you can see some of the hits that we're getting there. And down the bottom one there, 74 meters at 13 grams per tonne. That's pretty exciting and shows the potential of this ore body to grow and basically feed more underground material to the mill for a longer period of time. And on the left-hand side there you see Palomino, none of which is in the mine plan. I should say that only the red material, only the reserve is in the 43-101 mine plan that is in the market. Palomino, you can see there that we have 500,000 ounces of M&I and inferred. We're continuing to drill that and look to update the market shortly with how that has translated into M&I and also update the market on our study as to how when we will be able to bring that into the mine plan going forward. So really exciting future there at Hale. If I move to Didipio is our mine in the Philippines. It's a different style of ore body. It's a copper gold porphyry. Very predictable single ore body. You can see there on the right hand side, it's again shown in section. The little grey area at the top is the former open pit. That was the starter mine for Didipio, and then we went underground, and you can see there how developed the underground ore body is around this copper gold porphyry. We're presently mining in that blue area, and what this graph shows from August of last year was the success of our drilling campaign, getting deep underground and drilling deeper into the inferred material highlighted in yellow, and how the drill results, significant intercepts were so prevalent, which gives us a high degree of confidence of adding to the inferred material and bringing that eventually into reserve and the mine plan going forward. So very exciting upside there at Didipio. I would point out to investors listening today that as part of our obligations to the government in the Philippines during the course of this year, we expect to divest 20% of the Philippines asset by means of a public float on the Philippine Stock Exchange. That will go to Filipino investors. It was part of the renewal of our permit to operate there from 2021. So we're very excited about the prospect of bringing new Filipino and international investors into the ownership of Didipio. The proceeds of that 20% divestment will come to the OceanaGold Corporation, and we'll look to basically apply that to our balance sheet and increase our cash holdings as a consequence. If I move then to Waihi North. Waihi North is really close. It's a project, Waihi North project. It encompasses the development of a deposit called Wharekirauponga. It's shown on the map there in the top left aerially. You can see there it is a high grade ore body, or in fact, I think it's called a deposit presently, but we have an indicated resource of 660,000 ounces at 12.3 grams per tonne, inferred resource of a further 640,000 ounces at 7.8 grams a tonne. We'll look to update the market in mid-February with our full year results as to how the drilling program that we had in 2023 that is listed there, 7.7 kilometres of drilling was planned for 2023. Really excited about sharing with the market as to how that's gone to update those two indicated and inferred resource numbers. But what you can see here is a really high grade deposit that is very close. That's 10 kilometres from our processing plant, which is located in the middle of that picture. And the Waihi North project is about developing that underground mine, developing the Gladstone pit, updating the process plant, creating a TSF facility, and continuing to deliver gold production from this district that has been remarkably productive over its life. The Waihi mine has delivered to date 8 million ounces of gold in its life. And so what we're excited about the prospect of Wharekirauponga, continuing that for years to come. It'll be the subject of studies ahead. In fact, I think that's what my next slide goes to. Upcoming catalysts, aside from the full year results that we will be releasing to the market in the afternoon, I believe, of the 21st of February, speaking to the market on the 22nd. In addition to obviously that, which is when we'll also update our guidance for 2024, update our outlook for the 3 years beyond. We have further growth in the underground mine at Hale, and also the opening of Ledbetter pit open ore material. We're currently in the stripping phase. So in the first half of next year, you're going to see Hale have its gold feed grade to the mill progressively increase as both the underground mine and the open pit ramp up to get more access to the mill. Also at Hale, given of the nature of our exploration activity, we're looking to update the NI 43-101, which will bring into the investors' awareness the long-term outlook for the mine that we see as a result of the various studies that we've done, and also the drilling results that we have had at the mine. At Macraes, we're looking to update the 43-101 of it at the end of the first quarter. That's reflecting some of the study work we've been doing there. And we've been doing a number of studies, but particularly one optimization study at the Didipio, all about seeing what the potential is to increase the mining rate there. So we'll also be looking to update the market as to the result of that in the first quarter of this year. As I mentioned before, we do have to list 20% of the Didipio asset on the Philippine Stock Exchange. That we're targeting to get done in the second quarter of 2024. Next year, in a year from now, we'll update the 43-101 to reflect the full results of drilling campaigns that we expect to progress over the rest of this year. So we see growth from Hale, we see growth from the Didipio, a little bit of growth from Waihi. Macraes is pretty flat over the next few years. And then the Waihi North pre-feasibility study, subject to drilling and the various permitting or consent documents, as they're called in New Zealand, we'll look to update the market with that through the course of 2024. So if I just conclude with the following slide, and then I really look forward to taking any questions that listeners may have. Very much looking to continue the 5 things that we focus on a daily basis at OceanaGold in 2024. Operating safely and responsibly, it really matters to our people. As I said before, most of our workforce live in the local communities. We want everyone to go home safely. Our injury rates are low. We've had a fabulous track record in keeping people safe, and that remains our number one focus. And then being responsible for both to the environment and also our local communities Again, a fabulous track record that the company has, and we do take it very seriously and will continue to do so. We know that delivering on guidance is very important to the investment community. We put a lot of effort into making sure that our production commitments and cost commitments are consistent with what we say at the start of the year. We see plenty of opportunity to find improvement in our business. Our primary metric of success in doing that, in addition to safely and responsibly, is to see how much free cash we can generate from our activities. And that's about making sure we keep our costs low, we're careful with our CapEx, but we always have this mindset of continuous improvement. As I think I covered today, whether it be at Hale, underground, Palomino, or further at Hale, Horseshoe Underground, we see growth there. We see growth potential at Waihi. We see growth potential at Didipio. And we're going to progress all the various studies and the drilling necessary to kind of give full value to those assets over time. And then lastly, all of this is in service of both increasing returns to shareholders, and whether that be in the form of dividends, capital returns, and or share price appreciation. That's what our ultimate measure of success will be. So that is the overview of the presentation. I see I've got a number of questions that have come in, and so I'll move to answering those. So the first question is, are there any initiatives to lower your AISC for gold projects in 2024? Short answer is yes. If I was to go back to that slide deck where we have our strategy, here on the left-hand side there, you can see under the first pillar, we have value capture programs. 3 primary programs that we do throughout the company to drive a lower AIC. First one's asset management, which is about making sure that we keep our fixed and mobile capital operating most days per year that they can, to basically increase their capacity to generate cost reduction by being available more often. That is, if we have our gear operating more days per year, we can process more, and the more we produce, the leverage effect of the lower AIC is there. Procurement is the second value capture program. That's about making sure we only spend on what we need, and in what we buy, we spend only at the lowest total cost possible. And we've had some tremendous success in aggregating our expenditures across the portfolio to make sure we get the best purchasing power for what we need to buy across our business. And then the third value capture program is continuous improvement. And that's typically a mindset that we want to engender across everyone working at OceanaGold, is to, how do I do things better? How do I do things more cheaply? How do I do things that require less capital? And we've had some tremendous wins where people just, opening up their thinking and accessing their ideas and accelerating those ideas to deliver lower cost ounces to the business. So those 3 programs have been very successful in 2023. They're multi-year programs, so they'll continue to apply in 2024 and beyond. The next question is, can I provide 2024 production estimates? Are we doing that on the 22nd? In fact, I think it's on the aftermarket on the 21st is when we released our full year results and the guidance for 2024. So that'll be aftermarket on the 21st of February. And then we'll have an investor call on the morning of February 2020. February the 22nd, I should say, of 2024 to go through that in detail. The next question is, how comfortable am I with our understanding of grade and costs at Hale for 2024? Great question. Last year at one of our mines, one of our open pit ore sources at Hale called Mill Zone, we had a really bad September quarter where the grade that we thought was going to be in Mill Zone transpired to not be there. Now, we see that as very much a one-off because We have now exhausted the Mill Zone pit, and we had two grade control holes into the bottom of the Mill Zone. Those grade control drill holes had been done a while ago, but the reality was always going to be realized when we actually got into mining that material. And though Mill Zone over its 8 years of life had reconciled really, really well, plus minus 1%, in that final quarter, it was a bit of a miss. So that's probably the basis of the question. Going forward, we've done good grade control drilling of the underground, and we have been pleasantly surprised at how well that's reconciling to date. So from an underground perspective, we're reasonably confident, or as confident as you can be based on the drilling that we've done. And then in Leadbetter open pit, which we're drilling presently, we are also more confident of it presenting in a predictable way than, say, Mill Zone transpired in September quarter of last year. So a summary of that question is we're as comfortable as we can be given where we are at this point in time. The next question is, can I speak to our dividend policy and do we have a buyback program? Our dividend policy is one of paying a dividend semi-annually. We pay it in, I think it's April and October each year. It's 1 cent per share presently. That's what it exists now. Our first order of business is to strengthen our balance sheet. And we apply our free cash flow to further reducing our debt. Our leverage ratio is very low, but we feel in line with this strategy that fourth pillar there, financial strength and returns, is really important to us. So we're actually looking to further strengthen the balance sheet. But we do know a dividend is important, which is why we've now been paying a dividend of, as I said, 1 cent per share semi-annually. Over time, as and when that growth comes to be realised and generate the free cash flow that we expect, there'll be the potential for both an increase in dividend and or a share buyback program, particularly if our shares remain cheap. We will look to those at that point in time. But right now, it's 1 cent per share semi-annually. And then the last question, what's the exploration budget in North America for 2024? I think that's, well, again, we'll present that to the market on February the 22nd. Last year, it was about $7 million. I think it's going to be broadly around the same. We're excited about what exists there in Hale. But of course, as and when we look at things such as exploration and early stage entry in that middle column, there's also, if the opportunity exists, to increase exploration expenditure. We do believe that exploration is one of the great ways we can add value to shareholders. We have a good technical capabilities. We have the ability to actually mine what we find. And so there is great value we see in continuing to explore. So that actually concludes all the questions that I've received. I really appreciate people taking the time today to listen in. I very much welcome the interest in OceanaGold, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further questions.